Dr. Mamta Mahanty, and she will be speaking on integrating the sublime in the Coronial Era. Now, what is that Coronial Era? I think it is something to do with Corona.
Yes.
Perhaps. Okay. Okay. And the simple jackpot model for ideal schools. Let me read out a little bit about Dr. Mohanty. Dr. Mohanty is the founder director of ASHRAM. That's an intellectual creativity and education consultancy, and head of Gaurangi's preschool and daycare in Bhopal. Okay, so you are speaking from Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
The center operates on the fundamental aspects of Krishna consciousness and is primarily a vibrant place for women and children. The author completed her Ph.D. in literature in the year 2005 and had worked with different prestigious institutions in India and abroad. So that's with that, I will now request Dr. Mahanty to kindly start your presentation and share your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Hare Krishna, dear everyone. My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees. I'm sure there are many here who may be watching or who may be watching later. So I'm here to present on the topic integrating the sublime in the Coronial Era, the simple jackpot model for ideal schools. I don't have any presentation to share with you all. I'll just talk. You can read the paper later. I'll just touch upon some of the important aspects that I have mentioned in the paper. So I have all in all 20 minutes. So I'll try to wind up my talk in 10 minutes and perhaps 10 more minutes for question, answer, and discussion. I think we should be discussing more on a platform like this. So first of all, I thank the ISS team for giving me the opportunity to speak on this platform. And I'm sure all of you are able to hear me. Can anybody just respond?
Yes,
so
ma'am. Yes, we can hear you clearly.
We can hear loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So the paper basically focuses on the education area, because I feel this is one area, if we tap, automatically the rest of the areas we can bring into picture, bring into play. And integrating the sublime refers to the sublime knowledge that we get from the entire Vaishnava literature that Srila Prabhupada and the great Acharyas and the Goswamis have given us, and the already inbuilt lifestyle that is so close to nature and Lord. So it says the simple jackpot model because anyway the literature is all magic. So the more you dig this magical pot, the more pearls you get for ideal schools. Now, why for ideal schools? Because Corona has hit us so bad that it has become a new normal. And from whatever videos I watch, there are some astrologers who are really very well versed in their area, and also from the practical aspects that we are seeing around in the present scenario, we can easily make out that it's not going to go so easily. Not this year, the previous year has also gone, not the coming year, not the next year. I think it's going to go till 2027 or something like that, which means that whatever planning we had done before 2020 or even in 2020, it's going to go at a toss if things remain like this. So anyway, people will be hit financially. This is something very practical. We cannot deny it. So people will be hit financially, physically, emotionally. All of us know that people are facing problems like depression, loneliness, and stuff like that. And at different levels, they are facing different types of problems which we may not be even aware of. So the whole so education is something we must look into, and education for children, education for college students, and also education for parents. However, in this paper, I am only touching upon education for school children, okay? Because if school children we focus on, then automatically their parents will come, their family will come. So eventually, you know, the whole society will come into picture. So I think schools and organizations like us can play a very, very important role in this. So the paper basically gives 4 I's, and the 4 I's are initiating, imparting, implementing, and integrating. Taking into account the Coronial Era as a standard, as a new normal that I think is not going to leave us for another maybe 10 years, 11 years, because following Corona, there may be another, you know, so-called pandemic or epidemic. We don't know, because the Lord is is playing his role now really fiercely. So we will have to respect that, and we don't have any other way out. So it's a downslide of the whole system, and now the world has started living more in the systemic cloud rather than interacting with the immediate environment. Okay, immediate environment includes our parents, our friends, our neighbors who stay close by. But the thing is that even generally also, forget about Coronial Era, even before the Coronial Era, with the advent of technology, people actually stopped interacting with each other. They never interacted. Even small exchanges like, चलो मैं आज तुम्हें एक प्लेट खाना दे रहा हूँ, या उधर से प्लेट्स जो है exchange हो रही हैं. All these, you know, sweet exchanges between neighbors have all vanished. And now, with thanks to Coronial Era, that now we are forced to living away from people. So the Lord has secluded each and every one of us at different levels. So of course, this is a collective karma that is hitting us all back. So anyway, that is a different topic altogether, and it may need a separate forum for discussion, because this may go on and on and on. So the negative of Coronial Era is that people are getting into material shell, because since they are interacting with technology more, it is dead matter. I had heard in one of Amoglila Prabhuji's lecture only, I think long ago he gave, and it popped up, so I heard that. So we have already started communicating with dead matter, which is why, you know, it's surely going to hit on our consciousness really bad for all, for children, for adults, for college goers, everything. And it has also paralyzed, you know, the whole communication system, the natural communication system that existed between human beings. While this negative is going on, there is also positive side to it, that some people have really become really very introspective, and they have discovered new talents, they have discovered new skills, they are enjoying this time, you know, with themselves. So it is this that we have to catch upon, the whole of the Vaishnava community. Just pull these people up so that they don't get into the negative down cycle of the whole situation. And schools, for that matter, have to play a really important role, because on one hand, we used to tell children that no, don't use so much of mobile, otherwise you will get addicted to mobile and stuff like that. And now look at the whole world. We were asking our children to change, but I think we need to change now a lot. So children were communicating with technology so much, but today all children, all college students, all the adults are communicating with technology only. So we need to cut this out, because as soon as the dopamine levels go up, I'm sure many of you would know this fact, that the more technology we use, the body secrets out an enzyme which is called dopamine. So dopamine, if it is there in the body system, psychophysical system, in a very balanced level, it's okay. But if it increases, then it makes a person addicted, which is why, you know, you will find everyone these days scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. We set out to finding something and we end up finding something else. So how to integrate our sublime knowledge in this whole system? So here I am suggesting a simple jackpot model. The first pointer, the first I is initiating, where to begin. Now, this is a general area, not exactly to do with schools and educational institutions. So first we should start with books. Just now we heard Dr. Suruchi Mittal. So we should, I think, start with books, where books should be kept very simple, since this online education is going to be a new normal. It's going to stay with us for a long time, and with the black fungus and white fungus coming into picture and coming into play and hitting us further, we must take into account that though no matter how much we dislike technology, for communicating with each other, we may have to use technology forever now. It's quite possible, from whatever, from my experience, I can foresee is that it's quite possible that the physical schools will just remain restricted to online schools, and the whole educational system is going to see a huge paradigm shift in the years to come. Not in the years to come, in this very close, in maybe 1 or 2 years. All right, and maybe we will be forced to live again in smaller communities, in smaller packets, and the whole world will need deglobalization, which in one way will be good, because deglobalization, why? Because globalization has sort of brought about a standardization in the way we think, a generalization in the way we think, a standardization in the way we look at people, in the standardization and generalization in the way we understand people, just like Amoglila Prabhuji was mentioning, logical fallacy of generalization. And Dr. Suruchi Mittal is into the fashion world, so she would understand that even fashion has become so standardized. You look at any woman or any young girl, they wear same type of clothes. There is no variety. Whereas if we go to the past, there is variety. Every woman looks different. Every woman or every man, so to speak, had his own style of dressing up. So that variety, actually globalization took away. So in one way, this deglobalization is also good. So if deglobalization happens in many of the areas, which means it will certainly happen in the area of education also, and in lifestyle also. So we must, and for propagating, and this will become a very huge platform for us Vaishnavas, for the entire Hare Krishna community, to whichever group we belong to, for bringing in a huge change through books, because books is something, online books that too, because physical books won't work. So it's good in another way that we don't have to cut down trees, we don't have to print books, we can just go with the online books. So if we are to bring a change with initiating, so the books must be kept simple and outlook. The content has to be short. The content has to look very bright and colorful, and thin books, not like 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages. The children are reading and reading. No, not like that. And the books must be based on concepts. If you read my paper, I have given n number of ideas on how we can come up with books through cultural events. Because now when I'm browsing through Facebook, so many of the parents, because how much can you educate also children? Teachers are going cranky, they are leaving their jobs, unless the whole family is dependent on them. Hours and hours they are spending, and some of the faculty members are not even trained in how to use this technology. So everything is in doldrum. Schools will say that, oh no, online education is going very well. No, it's not going very well. It's going well only for some people who have access to internet, who have access to some of the luxury around in their houses. But believe me, most of the people, at least in Bhopal, at least in town like cities like Bhopal, people live in joint families, and it's very difficult to operate operate or even conduct sessions online,
You have 2 minutes.
or take sessions online. So sorry, how many more minutes?
You can take 3 minutes.
Okay, so so that is how. And from creative arts, because again there are many art sessions that are going. From regular journals, other than having our own journals, I think we must have our visibility in other standard journals, academic journals, where we must float proposal. Imparting focus. I'll just 1 minute elaborate on this. So all this should be based on the type of school. So there are standard material schools, there are Krishna conscious gurukuls that must be purely for devotee kids, which already ISKCON is doing. But so Vaishnava Krishna conscious schools for congregation students, because some of the congregation may be working outside and they may not be full-time devotees. Mixed schools that integrate Krishna conscious principles, like some material school where they can follow some Krishna conscious principles, but for practical reasons they may have to associate with CBSE or ICSE. But it's my strong suggestion that Vaishnava schools should scrap all affiliation with CBSE or ICSE, because there are practical problems of control from the government where we will lose our independence to completely and fully and freely teach the Krishna conscious principles and to inculcate that particular lifestyle. Innovative schools, open schools, and opportunity schools are a great platform for integrating the Krishna conscious concepts to them, maybe partially or maybe completely, as the case may be, according to the schools. Implementing, how to do? Certainly, or the Vaishnava community must form deemed universities. Deemed means I take the decision, I have the complete right to design my own courses, and I have complete right to affiliate smaller and bigger institutions in my fold. This is the concept of deemed universities or deemed institutions, because for smaller institutions like I operate here, it will be easier for me not to go divert the path to CBSE and ICSE and then break my head in registering my organization to those boards. It will become very easy for organizations like us to affiliate with any Vaishnava deemed university. For mutual support also, that may be very healthy. And in some areas, we may completely go bookless, time to time, conferences, seminars, wherever, coordinated leadership. We may have n number of differences at the leadership level, and yet I believe, very firmly believe, that all the leadership together must come under one umbrella. So the entire Hare Krishna community works together as one complete unit, and also take into account Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's style of operating, forming small groups and just dispersing everywhere to preach properly, so that we are also able to, see what's the progress made by people. And lastly, integrating, blend and make the others blend. Wherever required, we must blend, crossing the line to the material world. And once our job is done, we must bounce back to our, because otherwise we cannot completely divorce from the other things that the whole world is doing. And so that's that. And there is one small example I would end up with.
1 minute only.
Yes. So I will end up with just one small example. For example, if we were to teach planetary systems, okay, to children, how do we teach this? Just by singing. Like here at Gaurangi's, it's a preschool and daycare. So how do I teach planetary systems to them? I just sing with them. Okay, I just sing. They don't understand what are planets, what are planetary systems. I just teach them that there are 9 planets. Sometimes they say 8, sometimes they say 10. They are not sure. But according to scriptures, according to Srila Prabhupada, these are the planets. So I just teach them like this: Patala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Talatala, Sutala, Vitala, Atala, Bhur, Swar, Maharloka, Janarloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And for the material, you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And that's about it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So whatever I teach them, the fundamentals, I just add this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So, the mantra is doing its job. That's all. So my job is done. Yeah. So I'm open to questions now.
Okay. So that's really very nice. It was quite an interesting and very animated presentation. You made it up for not including PDF, but doing it all by yourself. Wonderful. It was very nice to hear.
Thank you.
And how to take care of the dopamine and what you say, how to take care of children and the college students and the parents. Even parents are also becoming developing anxiety. So people are getting into material shell, and now take the opportunity because people are doing introspective. So catch them up before they get into depression. So that's very nice. And I like the jackpot model, and then the last jingle, what you say, how to remember the names of the various planets. Okay, so that's very nice. Online education is the new normal, and it will continue for long. That's right. It will continue for long. But my worry, so first, if I take the privilege of raising the first question myself, is that if online education is going to be new normal, what will happen to the underprivileged and the rural families, rural children? How they will access education? They will be deprived.
Absolutely, that's the worry that the paper is, floating the proposal for, sir, because it's surely the underprivileged still is suffering. That's precisely my point, because not all people have access, which is why in the paper I have proposed that we must have smaller schools. Smaller schools in, we must divide the areas and we must have smaller schools. So, children who stay around, who don't have access to internet, they can come and attend those schools. They can come and attend those schools. So we can have trained teachers, and we can have smaller schools, because even during the Corona period, and I would just share this with you, Gaurangi's preschool and daycare was open even during Corona time. Even when the lockdown was here, even then parents used to send children to Gaurangi's, because some parents used to go to their offices even during lockdown. So they were not scared because they knew that children are safe here. So what to do? I used to teach them. We used to teach them even during Corona time. My school got closed only last month because it was a complete lockdown, so I couldn't have opened. But people are open that if there are lesser kids in schools, they are completely open to sending their children. But if you ask the parents to send their children to bigger schools, then they have problems. Then they are really scared that, they may get infected or something like that. But if we operate, then it's, but online education, even for bigger schools, even children who have access, it's not working very well. It's actually not working very well.
Okay, there is the next question. Yeah, thanks for that. Now the next question is Sudhakar Puttagunta. He is asking, can an aspirational civilization index, ACI, Aspiration Civilization Index, based on basically the 5 tangible survival needs: water, food, shelter, clothing, and the energy needed to produce the above, being met from just the renewable resources from the minimum of land around each human habitation of under 500 to 1,000 people, including
this question is for ISS, sir. This question is for ISS.
Oh, yeah, this is a previous question for previous speaker.
Yes.
And Tanisha, is there any way so that we can stay connected with you and to get involved in your projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm available on Facebook also. You can write to me at ashramicec@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can stay connected. That's not an issue. You can call me. You can just, ping, send a message, WhatsApp message. My number you can take from the organizers.
Yes.
They will give you.
Yes.
No
So ISS will provide the contact details. Yes. Now there is the one from Vivek Garg. So, dear Dr. Mamta, we like to invite you to Jain. Okay, you got to go to Jain and in Vrindavan for various schools. It will be our pleasure. Okay, so you got a booking.
Absolutely, my pleasure to Vivek, Ambika, Krishna Das, Prabhuji. You can call me Malini. My initiative name is Malini Devi Dasi.
Okay.
So sure, I will be available. No problem. Whenever you would like to have a session, you just give me a call. Not an issue at all.
Okay, yeah. So thanks. Is there any other query? Is there any other question?
Thank you so much for appreciating the session.
Yeah, so thanks. I would like to thank for this wonderful animated, exciting presentation that you made.